Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Now we are starting another series of 4. This is one of 4. And rather than the writing process of your novel itself, we're going to be talking about what comes afterwards, because I'm afraid you're not done.
Still not done, sorry. So we thought we'd start by talking about your synopsis. Or
Yeah.
synopses. Oh, it's one of those words. I'm going to get my lisp going now. Synopsis. One of those words that always sets it going.
This isn't going to be a sensible one for us, is it?
Are they ever?
No. Now, lots of people, when they hear the word synopsis, what they think is what goes on the back of the book, on the back cover. That's what people tend to think we mean, what the industry means by synopsis. We don't.
No.
That is what we call the blurb, which is in, I think it's going to be in week 2, next week.
Next week.
So a synopsis isn't something that your reader sees. It's got a different purpose entirely, and it is very different from a blurb.
Yes. It doesn't seem fair, to be honest, because you've sat down and you've written your novel, 60, 70, 80,000 plus words, however long, and you've edited it and you've put all that time and effort into it, and then some smart aleck comes along and says, oh great, thanks, and now can you actually tell me what happens to it in one page of A4? And you've spent 300 pages telling the story, and someone says, yeah, if you could just kind of like give it to me in a page, you can do that. And people who generally want this would be agents, publishers. And even that doesn't seem fair, because I've been in rooms with agents and publishers some of whom have said, oh yeah, we never read the synopsis. They always ask for it. And then some might read it before they've even read your submission. They might read it after they've read your first 3 chapters, just to kind of think, oh, I like where this is going. Let's check it, what it is. So yes, it's for industry specialists. And even if you self-publish, it is useful to do one, just so that you can then be clear on what your story is about, because you still have to talk to other people about your story.
Yeah, sorry about that. You do have to talk to other
Sorry. So yeah, the synopsis is a potted version of your story, including spoilers, which can be difficult, because even in the one in my novel that I'm going to be making an announcement about next week, even in that, there's one key moment, and I'm always a bit, oh, I don't want to tell anybody about that in the synopsis. I want it to be a big surprise when they get there. But you have to add those spoilers so that anybody vested in your novel will be able to go, right, okay, I can see the direction this is going. Particularly if you're then speaking to specialists who might suggest changes. And those changes may actually be better. We've spoken before about the time I wrote a children's novel and somebody looked at it and edited it and said, oh, make these 2 big changes. That improved it, even though it would never have occurred to me. So having the synopsis enables specialists to help you, and also to decide if your novel is the right novel for them.
Yes. So how to go about writing this 1-page summary of an entire magnum opus.
You shouldn't have said magnum. I want an ice cream now. Right. A good starting point. Well, I'll tell you the way I do it. And this is, again, as we say, not rules, just guidelines. So I start by going through each chapter and writing a sentence about what happens in that chapter. And you then find that you have, in my latest one, I think there's 30, maybe 40 chapters. So that's 30 or 40 lines, roughly. And you can then go through and work out how you can shorten that. It still needs to be engaging. You don't want it to be, and then this person arrives, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. You can still make it engaging. You can say, somebody arrives.
The nature of a character, for example. So as well as getting over what the plot is, it's what character and what they, the essence of that character, what they are like and what they are doing.
Yes. So yes, go through each chapter and give a short summary, and then edit again, and then edit again, and then pass it to somebody else who's read your book, who can then also go, yeah, okay, but I think you need to make this clear, or I think you've left out that bit. So if you give the bare bones of your novel by going through each chapter and writing a summary of what happens, and it can be as simple as I'll use the example from my children's novel. Chapter 1, Tooth Fairy is a letter arrives from the Tooth Fairy for the Tooth Fairy to tell her an old friend is in trouble and needs her help. She's reluctant to go due to past conflict. Her mentor tells her she has to. So that's very dry. I would then expand on that to say, Jax, an irritable Tooth Fairy, is approached by a magical letter after a trying day. It tells her old friend Nick needs her help. She's reluctant to give it due to their past conflict, but her mentor Hefuk tells her in no uncertain terms she's to pack her bags and go. So again, you can work out how you're going to word that.
Yeah. So it's different from the storytelling style in which you write your actual novel, but you still want it to be engaging, intriguing in the way that will help your prospective agent.
And it should still have your voice to it. Because anybody can say, and then the Tooth Fairy finds out her friend is in trouble and goes to help them. But you still want to have that flavour of your voice. Jax has had a hard day. She's wrestled a tusk from an irate hippo and is covered in their snot when a letter from an old friend arrives. He needs her help. Yeah, you can still give a flavour of the characters and of your voice in that.
Yes, absolutely. So, so word count. Now, we say about a page of A4. In terms of word count, now, do they allow you these days, I believe, that can be single-spaced rather than double-spaced?
Yes, usually in presentation. From my experience, when you're sending off to external agencies, by agencies I mean not just agents and publishers, but anybody who you would expect to read it, they normally say for the actual manuscript 1.5 line spacing, because it's a big document. They're going to want to read it more clearly. For synopses, it's like Nanny Og saying banana and never knowing how to finish it. Synopses. It's usually they prefer it to be a single page of A4, single spaced. So yes, you have, I don't know how many words that is.
That's what I think it's about 400. I want to take a guess at.
Do you know, whilst you're there, I am going to open up a synopsis that I've done.
A synopsis
Synopsis.
Yes.
And I'm going to do a quick word count.
That's great. Also, it seems like it should be something that doesn't matter, but the font in which you send this in actually matters as well. And not just the font size, but the actual font type. Don't try to squeeze more words onto the page by putting it in font size 8. Just don't.
No. I would say 11 as a minimum. Actually, usually 12 is ideal, and Times New
Roman. Yes, Times New Roman is standard, or Arial is okay, I think, isn't it?
So the synopsis for my latest novel was a single sheet of A4, Times New Roman, 12-point font, single line spaced, and it was 443 words.
There we are. And that's about the that's
they usually say roughly 500 words.
Yeah. But yes, so that's what you're aiming for. And yes, when we talk about font, that might seem like a ridiculous thing to mention, because why on earth would it matter? It matters.
Yes.
When a professional is reading words day in, day out, and they open something which is in some peculiar font, their initial reaction is to go,
yes.
And it doesn't create a good first impression, and they might even put it down on that basis.
It's things like not using multicolored fonts, not using highlighter bits, not using curly fonts or anything like that. Having it left aligned rather than central. Don't muck about with the way it's positioned. Make it easy for somebody to pick up your work and read it.
Yes.
With any CV or job application, you make it easy for the person to read. If you want it to stand out, you use your own style and voice and character to do so.
Yeah. Don't be using lots of exclamation marks. Don't be using block capitals. Don't be using bold font. Don't be doing any of that. Let your words do the talking. So sorry if that sounds cheesy. Yes, that's what we would suggest. So next week
for you.
Yes.
Good luck with your synopsis writing.
Synopsis. Yes, good luck with that. And next week we'll be sharing with you some of the basics about how to write a blurb. So that is something that is for your reader, that goes on the description of whatever website platform you're selling your book on, and on the back cover of the physical printed book. So we'll see you then. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.